What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So let's talk Quinnen Williams. Okay, defensive tackle, New York Jets. All the buzz swirling around Quinnen Williams is that he wants he wants a new contract. He wants to get paid. He wants big money. So let's rewind. Quinnen Williams, former number 3 overall draft pick in the 2019 draft. A draft that was loaded with defensive tackle talent. If you remember that draft class, Jeffrey Simmons, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams, just an excellent defensive tackle class. And Quinnen Williams, his career started off a little shaky, but this year it really excelled, and you saw his high-level talent on full display. 12 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. Really got to see a lot of what Quinnen Williams' his ability. This is a guy that's super strong in the upper body, really challenges offensive linemen's anchors. A dude that just reads plays quickly, and he does a good job of just working into a position where he can always see where the ball carrier is going. So, yeah, the tape really speaks for itself in Quinnen Williams' play this year. To me, when coming up with a deal, I looked at, so Aaron Donald's the highest paid defensive tackle in football, but let's look at the number 2 and 3 guys. Number 2 is Jeffrey Simmons, about $23 million, and then just over $22 million, you have Daron Payne. So Jeffrey Simmons was in Quinnen Williams' draft class, so I think that's a good place to start. I think about 22 to 23 million. I think you start right there. I'm not sure what the Jets cap space is, but I think you have to start with, starting 22, 23 million range. Okay, you can kind of compare. Jeffrey Simmons was in that draft class. And you could also say that Simmons probably has been a better player overall throughout his 4-year stint with the Tennessee Titans. Quinnen Williams just really bursting and maximizing his skill set this year, you could argue. So started about 22, 23 million. Because even if you argue that's a lot of money, I put a lot of value on the defensive tackle position. And I was listening to Sam Palazzo and Sam Munson on Pro Bowl Football Focus. They made an excellent take that other than that 2019 NFL draft class, you haven't really seen a lot of high-end play from the defensive tackle position. Guys like Derek Brown in the 2020 class, he's been pretty solid, but you look at some of the other top defensive tackles, Levi Onwuzurike, he was a consensus. Here, I'll pull that up. So yeah, you flash forward a year later, you have Derek Brown, Javon Kinlaw. Javon Kinlaw, his 5th-year option was declined by the 49ers. Kinlaw was a guy like Quinnen Williams. Everyone was just waiting, when's he going to have that explosive, big-time season. It just really hasn't happened for Kinlaw, even though this is a guy that has a lot of raw athletic ability for a big defensive tackle, just hasn't really had that dominant year. You look at other guys in the 2020 class, Justin Madubuike, Neville Gallimore. Madubuike been more of a rotational guy for the Ravens. Raekwon Davis has flashed. He's been pretty solid with the Dolphins. Yeah, then you fast forward to 2021. Christian Barmore, Deion Nixon out of Iowa, Levi Onwuzurike, Washington, Ali McNeil, NC State. My Detroit Lions fortunate to get 3 of the top 4 of those guys, Onwuzurike and McNeil. But Onwuzurike, the guy that just battled through so many injuries, a guy that really hasn't played a full season of football. You got to go all the way back to 2019 at Washington, opted out of 2020, played just a few games in 2021, and then just did not play at all this past season. Ali McNeil, a guy that, fortunately, with the way the tackle market is right now, and it's how hard it is to find a good one, Ali McNeil's been pretty solid overall. Like I've reiterated, he really has become a very solid starter, a very serviceable defensive tackle, a true zero technique nose tackle in the National Football League. Christian Barmore, looks like he's been pretty solid with New England. I haven't really followed him super closely, but it sounds like he's been pretty solid. He was he was the consensus number 1 D tackle, but you saw Onwuzurike kind of was in the mix for number 1 by some people. I know a lot of experts that I highly respect like McNeil a lot. go to this past season, Jordan Davis was a hot commodity just because of the size and athletic profile of Jordan Davis. He was a guy that, he's still under question just because he wasn't healthy. Devontae Wyatt wasn't super great. Travis Jones, another guy, number 4 consensus D tackle out of UConn. He's another guy that the book's still out on him. He just has not been healthy either. So this was a class in 2022 with the fairly high expectations. Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, the big names coming out of the big school in Georgia. But those are guys where the book is still out on those guys. How are they going to perform in year 2? Can they stay healthy? Logan Hall, another guy. Can he really take a next step next year? Travis Jones. And then this year, Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter's kind of that guy. Can he bump this trend? Can he finally get a high-level play out of a defensive tackle? Once again, Jalen Carter, all the physical tools to wear a gold jacket when it's all said and done. Kalijah Cansey, another guy with legit ability to rush the passer. Not the best at holding his ground versus double teams, but really is that going to be his game in the National Football League? No, this is a guy that on passing downs, can he disrupt the middle? Can he get after quarterbacks? Can he get them to flush the pocket? That's going to be the name of the game for Kalijah Cansey. But yeah, back to Quinnen Williams. So Quinnen Williams, like I said, the consensus number 1 D tackle in that draft. The consensus read as follows: Quinnen Williams 1, Ed Oliver 2. Ed Oliver been rock solid for Buffalo. Still hasn't really developed into the high end player, I thought. Christian Wilkins 3. Rashawn Gary was 4, but Rashawn Gary kind of seen by more of an edge rusher by most. So technically Dexter Lawrence 4. So you had the Clemson guys. Jeffrey Simmons 5. Simmons, I forgot, had the ACL at the time. Draymond Jones, a guy who recently just got paid by Seattle, and then Jerry Tillery's guy has been solid. So you look at these top 6, 7 guys; they've all been very good football players they've all been good football players for their respective teams. But yeah, Quinnen Williams is a guy that the Jets are going to need to have. They need as many studs, elite level players that they can get with this few-year window they're likely going to have with Aaron Rodgers. So yeah, pay Quinnen Williams, get this deal done. I was listening to Robert Saleh on the Rich Eisen show. He was talking about he's confident a deal is going to get done. I heard reports yesterday that they're not close to a deal, but then I thought I heard reports today that they're getting closer to a deal. So you got to believe that Quinnen Williams' agent, I'm sure, is going to try to really bump up the asking price, knowing the defensive tackle market and know how I'm sure he's going to reiterate how valuable a guy like Quinnen Williams is. But it's cool to see Quinnen Williams living up to his talent, because most people say Jalen Carter this year is the most talented defensive tackle since Quinnen Williams. And I'll never forget, there was hype for Quinnen Williams to go number 1 in that draft. I know Bosa was taken number 1, Kyler Murray 2, but yeah, Quinnen Williams, there was hype about him going number 1. Some people thought he was the most dominant defensive tackle at that time since Aaron Donald. So yeah, Quinnen Williams, I mean, you saw, and he was getting after. He could wrap up. He was disruptive in the Buffalo game in Week 9. He was disruptive in the Bengals game Week 3. Those are 2 games I really dug deep into his tape. Does an excellent job wrapping up quarterbacks. The fact that he can wrap up Joe Burrow, Josh Allen fairly effectively says a lot about the upper body strength this guy possesses. And just a dominant performances at times this year. I know this is a guy that, when he does get double team, he is just kind of become more neutralized. But yeah, one-on-ones, he's winning a lot of those one-on-ones, and he really challenges centers, especially really puts them in an uncomfortable position where they're really digging and fighting just to hold their base and hold their point of attack. And he does that to guards too. I saw that the guard from Buffalo, I forget what his name is, probably did the best job I saw in Quinnen Williams. But inferior, lesser guards, average to below average guards in centers in the National Football League, it seems like Quinnen Williams is gonna have his way with, and it seems like he's kind of figured this thing out in the NFL. So New York Jets got to get a deal done with Quinnen Williams. Hopefully they get a deal done sooner rather than later, and this doesn't result in like a holdout situation. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that with Quinnen Williams. Thanks for tuning in to Big Time Football Talk. Make sure to stay tuned for more episodes and clips from the show. Till next time, peace.